change. Oh god, I gotta change the settings on my computer. It just like keeps opening shit into Bing. I'm like, nobody uses this.
Who uses Bing?
Truly no one. I just have like an archaic PC.
I thought for the longest time Bing was just one of those fake brands that they made up for like TV shows, you know?
Yeah. Like U-Face.
Exactly. like the Peach computers on iCarly.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my god, speaking of iCarly, I saw a very funny meme that was like, I want Donald Glover to play like a young Michael Jackson and woke up Miranda Cosgrove to play him in his later years.
Oh my god.
Poor Miranda.
I'm sure she's doing well. All right, well, welcome to Bants with Geoff and Justin.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm the Oxlord, Justin.
The Oxlord? Is that how you're pronouncing yourself now?
Yeah, you know, it's. I feel like I need a title.
Okay, well, what would my title be then?
I don't know if I can say it on broadcast, but I feel like you have a known title.
Captain Cunt.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Geoff.
Okay. Why can't we say it on broadcast?
I don't know what the rules are on the internet.
I think we can say anything we want. We just have to live with it.
Listen, this is still new for us.
It is. But yeah, I'm glad we're finally doing this.
You've been talking about doing a podcast for a minute, I feel like.
Yeah, for a minute, but I feel like you just really girl bossed this whole process. Like in the last 3 days, we were just like, we're going to do a podcast now. And I was like, okay. And we just got it together.
Sometimes you have to take advantage of the energy.
Yeah, you gotta grab life by the balls.
Exactly.
And squeeze out the sweet nut of experience. Oh god. So what's been going on? I thought that we should just like kind of do a quick little catch up and talk about any small things before we get into our main topic of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I've been good. We had a bit of a Cinco de Mayo gathering last night. Had some tacos, some margs. That was good. Yeah, work is kind of heating up right now, so yeah, but I've been, I don't know, kind of just been vibing. I traveled a lot in April. So it's been nice to kind of just hang out. I'm based in DC, so it's been nice to hang out here in the city for a weekend.
Where did you travel to? I know you went to California for work, and then obviously you were home for a quick minute.
Right, I was in California for work. Then I went to Boston because my partner ran the Boston Marathon. And then after that, we both went up to Vermont. And that was for our engagement shoot because we're relatively recently engaged.
I feel like you should like clarify that your partner is a woman because people have been stealing our gay language and calling their girlfriends or fiancés.
Oh, this is a whole other podcast. This is a whole podcast segment. I feel like I like to use the word partner because it normalizes not having a partner of the opposite sex. Like I have a lot of coworkers who have partners who are like either the same gender as them or, you know, intersex or whatever. And they always use the word partner. And in those types of environments, it's kind of like a flag to everybody else. It's like, oh, I'm actually queer. So when you have like open, you know, people who are like, you know, straight saying the word partner, it kind of normalizes straight. That I know the straights, we're not okay.
No, I mean, that actually is like a cool thing, but you know, I still have like the visceral response of, hey, that's my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair, like in a personal situation where, you know, you and I know each other, I don't have to say partner.
True.
But yeah.
For the listeners, we're doing it for
the listeners, yeah, for the future fans.
Okay, I wanted to talk quickly about a couple of things that have popped up recently in culture, and I thought that they were interesting topics. The first is, did you hear about Madonna's like farewell, or well, not farewell, but her final concert in her celebrations tour?
In Brazil.
Yes.
Right? Yes, I don't know too much about it, but I saw some videos and it looks just wild.
They had 1.6 million people on the beach in Rio de Janeiro for her concert.
I think the thing that I saw was that it was like the most people at an individual concert, like not counting festivals, like for one artist, yeah.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, it has to have been huge. I am sort of like I wish that I could have gone to her tour because it's not spring chicken anymore, and like I want to see these legends before they're gone forever.
Yeah, Madonna. I think Madonna was a little bit before my time. Confessions on a Dance Floor, I think, was like a part of my cultural experience.
Yes.
But outside of that, I was born 91, and that was around the time she came on the scene, right? So I feel like I missed a lot of the early Madonna era. And then everything after Confessions on a Dance Floor, I missed, I feel like.
I don't remember that there was much to really savor and enjoy after Confessions of a Dance Floor. But before that, like one of the albums that I think was kind of formative for me and my musical taste when I was younger was Ray of Light, which I think came out in 98 or 97. And that was absolutely formative for me in terms of like what electronic music could do. and yeah, I mean, I think that was just a great album. But I think she came out earlier than the 90s. I think she was like in the mid 80s. I think her first album was Blue, and that was in like 85 or 86, something like that. But she's got some bangers, and I think that probably in America, she's one of the most, if not the most influential American artists in terms of pop music.
Damn.
In like the last like 30 years? Well, no,
not like
that.
Michael Jackson? You don't think?
No, I mean like, yeah, but he was around in the 70s. I guess I mean like from like, the mid 80s onward. I would say she's like one of the most influential. Maybe
I guess
not
I would agree with that.
Most.
I mean, by the time that Confessions on a Dance Floor came out, obviously Michael Jackson was like not in the picture. And he had a really dominant run there from like, the 60s and 70s all the way through like Thriller, so
truly.
Yeah.
Name a more iconic dance. Can't be done.
Cha-Cha Slide?
I mean, ubiquitous, yes. Iconic,
Cotton
I'm
Eye
not
Joe?
sure. Again, I don't know if that's like as iconic. I think it's definitely ubiquitous. But I don't know.
I'm just messing. These are just bants.
We're just banting.
Yeah.
This is kind of what we do. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Wish that I could have experienced that, but also the part of me that hates crowds is glad that I would never.
Oh wait, did we bring up that it was free? That concert was free?
No, we did not.
Because that's the wild part. That's why there were so many people. People just like, I saw videos and it's literally just people like walking up. It's crazy.
That is really cool, honestly. I feel like that Brazilian fans have like are just like on a different level than fans of any other nationality.
I mean, the comment section of any artist on Instagram, it's filled with Brazilian flags.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They are intense. They're intense.
They really are. They're so passionate.
I respect that.
I do too. But yeah, I think it's really cool that she did a free concert. I wish more artists could do that, but I think the logistics of it are like impossible. I'm so curious what the planning was like to pull off that kind of a feat in such a public place.
I know, and also like, not to get on a totally different topic, but the recent flooding in Brazil, that is also happening. I mean, Brazil's a very large country. So I don't know how intense. I think it was Rio de Janeiro that the concert took place in. So I don't know how much that was affected, but
I would say I have no idea because I didn't even know that there was massive flooding occurring in Brazil because I've been trying to stay off the news for my mental health. But I'm guessing since they had a huge concert in that area, there was no immediate issue in that immediate area of the beach.
Fingers crossed. Or it was like a logistical miracle, right? Which is yeah.
Could be. What else? What else is going on? The Met Gala. The Met Gala is tonight.
Oh my gosh. I did not know. Am I canceled?
I saw you're in queer prison. I saw a couple of early looks from the co-hosts of the event. So this year's co-chairs are Zendaya, Bad Bunny, and Chris Hemsworth. And I gotta say, I was a little bit underwhelmed with all of what I saw from the three of them. Bad Bunny was not bad, but the other I was kind of bored.
Okay, let me ask a basic question, which is, what are the roles of these three people? Like, do they come up with the theme? Do they have to like what do they actually do, or is it just more of like a symbolic thing?
I don't really know that they have any duties that they have to perform, other than I know that they have to greet everybody who comes in. They have like a true like greeting line, a processional that occurs like right before you go in the building, and I know that it's the co-host and Anna Wintour that greet everybody who comes in. And other than that, I don't know that they have like any kind of pre-work that they have to do. I don't know if they're involved at all with invitations or promoting it in any way. My understanding is more that they're like figureheads that are going to have significant draw.
Yeah, I mean, Zendaya's definitely having a moment right now. I think everybody would agree on that.
I don't agree. I think she's irrelevant.
Who is she? Who is she? Yeah, Chris Hemsworth, though, you know, I mean, the Furiosa movie is coming out soon. That's the only thing I think really culturally relevant that he's been involved in recently.
What is Furiosa? I totally missed this.
It's a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road, which is that movie. Yeah, which looks really good. I mean, it has Anya Taylor-Joy as the lead. She plays the same character that Charlize Theron played in Fury Road.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it looks good. And then Bad Bunny, I feel like he's kind of still I don't know. He put out the album. I think he's like in the midst of his tour right now, and it's huge, a massive tour. He's definitely super relevant. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth seems a little bit out of place.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. He was dressed like he's always dressed. He was like wearing like no tie and like a linen suit, I think, with like a shirt. I'm like, okay.
I mean, he's very handsome.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's like you can maybe do a little bit more. Like Bad Bunny at least is doing something interesting.
Yeah, he like had like kind of a funky outfit on with like flowers. I guess this year's theme is like the like something about like the awakened enchanting garden or something like that.
Let me see if I can search for some pictures here. Oh man, some of these looks. No, there's some of these looks.
Now I have to look.
Jeffrey Goldblum looks pretty cool.
Jeff Goldblum, interesting. Yeah. What are you on? Are you on People?
I'm at the New York Times live blog.
Oh, a flop publication.
Yeah, but they got live blogs. I can still look.
I'm on People. Real journalistic integrity at that place.
Yes, and noted for their journalism.
Interesting. Yeah, some of these looks are fascinating. Kind of sleepy, kind of boring so far. I mean, it's still early. People are still just arriving, but...
So the theme is garden.
Yeah, it's like... I think it is like Enchanted Garden of Time or something to that effect. But yeah, the Garden of Time. And I guess there is a... So this I just recently learned is a common misconception. There is the theme for the gala, which this year is the Garden of Time. And then there's always an exhibit that is tied into the theme, but not the same necessarily. Each year, that is what this is raising money for the Costume Institute at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And this year, that exhibition is called Sleeping Beauty's Reawakening Fashion. So I think that they are sort of like, you know, because Sleeping Beauty, all the briar roses and, you know, being asleep for 100 years, whatever. I think that's how they kind of link them in together, but... Yeah, I'll be interested to see as celebs continue to arrive on the carpet what they're wearing. Beyonce is supposed to be coming. It's highly rumored in the Beehive circles. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I'm excited for that. Yeah. I mean, everybody looks hot, but I feel like when you go to the Met Gala, it's got to be above and beyond. Agree. You know?
I agree. Yeah, so far kind of boring.
As someone who's definitely been before.
Of course. We both have a lot of experience, actually. And we're known for our sartorial takes. We're very influential in fashion.
Yes, I know fashion.
But speaking of fashion, I think maybe we should segue into what we're going to talk about today.
What a segue. I was going to ask if Dula Peep was going to arrive at the Met Gala.
I don't know if she's going. Did you see that she did a pop-up concert at Times Square?
Yes, pop up in Times Square. Wild.
That was pretty wild.
It was in the rain. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's incredible. I think she's really leveled up. I don't want to. Okay, let's not get it too much into talking about Dua yet. Let's introduce the topic. So for those of you who are apparently living under a rock, Dua Lipa is who we're talking about today. She's a British and Albanian singer, songwriter, and recently actress. I think we can agree that she kind of came on the scene in 2017 with her debut album, which featured the single New Rules, which was a huge hit in the US. Her sophomore album, Future Nostalgia, came out in 2020, was one of those, there was like a whole series of albums that they were like dance albums that came out in the pandemic and we didn't get to hear them in a club, which I think was really sad. It was like that, Chromatica was another one. But that album also popped off. I think it featured Levitating, Physical, were a couple of the singles off that album.
That was such a great album.
Really was great. And then most recently, she had a song, Dance the Night, which was featured in Barbie.
Oh.
Have you heard of it?
Who? The what?
And what we're talking about today is her newest album, Radical Optimism. It just dropped this past Friday, May 3rd. Apparently, there was a typo that Geoff corrected in the script, and he corrected it to May and then said parentheses, you fool, end parentheses. So thanks for that correction, Geoff. The album was preceded by 3 singles, Houdini, Training Season, and Illusion. So let's get into it. Geoff, let's talk about your opinions and your history with Dua before this new album. Like, what's your history? When did you discover her?
Well, listen, I would be thrilled to talk about my history with Dua Lipa because I think that I am an OG fan. I happened on a whim to be listening to BBC One. They do these like in-session recordings that they post on their YouTube page, and I happened to just see this new girl who I thought was like very pretty and young, and I was like, well, I want to hear what she sounds like, so I clicked on her, and she was doing like a set live there, and that was back in 2017. Her album her album hadn't even dropped yet. It was going to be dropping soon. She had a couple of like EPs that she released before this, and I think one of them was called My Life in Blue or something like that. And I was like a fan from the jump. So when New Rules came out and I heard it on the radio, I didn't immediately recognize her voice, but I was like, this song is a banger. And I realized who it was, and I was like, oh, this is that girl that I watched like a few weeks ago. And I saw Dua Lipa live in concert with your partner Brandy and our other friend Sarah in October, I think it was, of 2017 at the Oakdale Theater, which is a super small venue north of New Haven, Connecticut. I think there was like maybe 2,000 people there, but she put on a great show. She was definitely like, you could tell she was a little bit green at performing, but she was still super engaging, and her band and backup dancers were excellent. So I've been a fan since then, and I loved her self-titled album. I thought it was really good. I'll probably talk about that more because I have some thoughts about her new album and how it kind of has some parallels with her first. And then, of course, like you said, Future Nostalgia was just an incredible album, and I loved that during the pandemic, even though like we couldn't really do very much and we didn't get to dance to it in a club or anything like that, she put out a really cool special that I paid to watch. It was called Club Future Nostalgia, and she did like a 65-minute, I think it was, live set that she like recorded, and she had some really great guest stars like Kylie Minogue and the Blessed Madonna, who came on and did some like appearances, which was really great. So that's kind of my I know it was so good. It was really great, and it was, you know, in such like a dark and dreary and miserable time. I think it was November of 2020, so it was like I think we were on like our 3rd wave of COVID at that point, and like back on like a true lockdown before the holidays. It was like a bright spot in that dark period.
Yeah, what an era of COVID when we were all paying for like virtual performances. That was a moment. Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't know Dua as early as you, but I think I had kind of heard of like, didn't she have her lead single was like Be the One, I think? Does that sound right from her? debut album. So I had like kind of heard that song once and was like, didn't get its hooks in me. But when New Rules started coming out on the radio, I was like you, saying to myself, this is an absolute banger. So kind of impossible to ignore her at that point. But I wasn't as impressed by her first album. Not that I really gave it a huge chance. I was kind of just like, okay, here's another, pop star. Seems good, cool. But when Future Nostalgia came out, I was really attracted to the kind of like retro futurism of it. It was kind of like very 80s heavy, physical. Sounded like something that was on like a workout VHS.
Totally.
It was super high energy, super fun. But I didn't like put her on the same level as somebody like I don't know who to compare her to in the pop star sphere. Like Charlie XCX is somebody who I really like, for example.
Never heard of her.
She does a lot of dancey stuff. Never heard of her? You should give her a look. But Dua wasn't doing anything like that exciting to me at the time. Like I would think it was a lot of fun, that album. But then I think she also kind of became like a sex symbol around that time. Would you agree with that? Like around Future Nostalgia?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like basically the only thing we could do is like consume media. We were sitting on our computers like all day long, and she's like a gorgeous woman and also a really skilled dancer. Now she is.
Right. Yeah, we all know the famous dance. I'll put the link in the show notes.
Honestly, like one of the best memes.
Such a great meme. And now that's what I was saying earlier, is she's improved so much as a performer. Yeah. And she also did a lot of things in the culture. Like she started a podcast.
Service 95.
She started like, Service 95. She started like a book club. And I started following her on Instagram around that time. And I was like, she has really good taste. And I know I'm not the first person to notice this. I know like Las Culturistas had like a whole podcast about how Dua Lipa has great taste. But I was like, okay, maybe like, am I in love with Dua Lipa? It's kind of like what happened around this time for me. And yeah, I mean, I like Dance the Night. I wasn't obsessed with it or anything. I think Billie deserved the Oscar for that. But I was really impressed with Radical Optimism. But maybe you can give your thoughts on it first.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts about the album. So this is like her third studio length album, and I think it's really good. Really good. I think overall it's like an extremely strong album. I like the new experimental sounds that she's doing. Well, maybe not necessarily experimental, but I like the new sounds that she's kind of embracing and exploring. I think that has a lot to do with some of the producers that she's working with. I know she's working with Tame Impala, and that definitely had like a little bit of, you could sort of hear the psychedelic edge to some of her music that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, can I just say I think this album is basically a disco album. Like I think Future Nostalgia was very much like an 80s nostalgia album. This one, she is on that thread still of like nostalgia, but it's very much like disco-y, which I think is very consistent with Tame Impala. And the other producer on this album is Danny L. Harl, who's like an electronic music producer, who's worked for a lot of other artists, so including Flume.
Oh yeah.
So I think it has a huge disco influence. Almost every song I hear the disco influence. But
no, I mean, I completely agree with you. I think a lot of the songs reminded me of like ABBA as well. Like
yes,
very,
ABBA,
like,
especially
inspired.
Yes, Falling Forever, especially. I'm like, this sounds so much like an ABBA song.
I wrote that in my notes because, as we discussed before that we were gonna record, we wanted to just make sure that we'd both done like, given the album like its due, and give it a few listens and make some remarks about it. So on my like fourth listen today, I actually like took some pen to paper and wrote some notes that we can talk about.
Wow.
So let's get into it. Tell me what you think. What's on your mind?
Well, I think in terms of like the musical influences, like I said, it's clearly influenced by disco. And I think it's pretty consistent in that. The only song that I think kind of strays a little bit from that is the final song, Happy For You, which has a bit of a breakbeats vibe to it. But yeah, otherwise very disco heavy. So I can imagine somebody who isn't into that style of music maybe being bored, but the hooks are so catchy. Like Houdini is so catchy. I find myself singing to myself End of an Era, which is the lead song. So catchy, so good. But I think really what hooked me about the album is the lyrical content. And maybe this is just because of the context that we're in now. You know, Taylor Swift also just put out her new album, and there's been a lot of discourse about that. This album feels like a relationship album for adults. Yeah. It's like every lyric that she has, I mean, it's not deep, right? It's pop music. I'm not asking for anything crazy, but like, she sounds like an adult woman. Meanwhile, I'm listening to like the Tortured Poets Department. Yeah, I'm listening to Taylor Swift. I'm like, Taylor, you are 34. Like, I feel the same way listening to this album that I do listening to the Olivia Rodrigo album, except Olivia Rodrigo is doing it better. I'm like, it makes me cringe. I'm like, why are we spending this long talking about this guy who clearly sucks? Like, he's a drug addict who looks like a wet cigarette. Like, what? Come on.
And you say this is a huge fan of the 1975.
I love the 1975. The music's great, but like, they don't write all of their songs about Taylor Swift and how she's like a horrible person. Like, that's essentially the Tortured Poets Department, you know? So I listened to this, and it's like very refreshing to hear somebody talking about relationships in a mature way. You know, you have the song Maria, which is kind of like the anti-Jolene. Maria, I know you're gone, but I feel ya. Where she's like, hey, Maria, I can sense your presence in my current like partner because he's like so caring and nice, and I sense that is because of like the influence of another woman, and I respect you for that, which is like so like warm and nice, and I think odd in pop music.
Yeah,
where usually like the Taylor Swift album is so, I'm kind of just like, Taylor, go to therapy, you know?
Oh shit. Well, yeah, I mean, I won't even really get into the Tortured Poets Department, but that album is not for me. I would say I would choose Radical Optimism over that album any day. It's interesting that you brought that up about Maria. I actually, when I was listening to it, I think it is like a little bit of a trope in pop music that if there is like a sensitive man or a man who's just like emotionally available, that it has to do with like the influence of another woman, whether that be like a mother figure, a sister, or a daughter even, or in this case like an ex-girlfriend. But I thought there was like a really kind of interesting sapphic, like queer subtext maybe to some of the lyrical content of that song, because it sounded more like she was like, wow, to me it read like everything that I love and admire about this man is because of a woman. So I wish that the song like explored that a little bit more, because it was definitely giving that like undertone to me. I think I would have liked it a little bit more if the song had just pushed it a little bit and gone on to explore that aspect of it. That could also just not at all be what they were going for, but that's how I read it.
I think that's actually really interesting. I mean, I think that it is almost more interesting if Dua didn't intend it that way, because it's like, Dua, maybe you should start considering that. Like, if the reason why your boyfriend is nice is because of his ex, maybe you don't actually like him that much. Like, yeah.
It's that I really like Maria though. I thought also that it had a really interesting sound. For me, I think that is one of the song. So like, while I said that I think that Radical Optimism is a really very good album, I think that an inherent flaw for me is that there seems to be almost two separate and distinct sounds on this album. So I thought that the single tracks, so Houdini, Training Season, and Illusion, sound cohesive. They sound kind of like what we expect out of a Dua Lipa dance floor banger. And I know she's not like obsessed with putting out hits, but I think that is sort of how these songs were molded, I think, with the intention of being singles. The rest of the songs on the album, to me, are better and also more cohesive and in line with the thesis of the album, which is, you know, that it's always better to look on the bright side of things than not.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think for me, there are songs that are kind of not the singles, that are, I think, kind of, I don't want to say duds, but like, I'm not going to skip them, but they're not going to be on any playlists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think French Exit, for example, is one of those that I wasn't amazed by. But I think that, like, you're right that the non-singles are more interesting, right? So
definitely
stuff like These Walls, for example, is a little bit weirder. Like the other ones, like you said, they kind of fit into that future nostalgia mold of what we expect from a Dua Lipa song.
Which is great, by the way. I love it. I mean, those songs are things that we need. It's things that like people crave and want to be able to like get on the dance floor and shake their ass to. And they're quotable, and some of them have like fun dances associated with them from the videos, and so like I think that that's good, and we're always going to need songs like that. So that was in no way meant to be like a negative comment.
Right, yeah, and I mean, of the three singles, I think Houdini is probably my favorite, Training Season number 2, and then I think Illusion is maybe the weakest. They're all good songs. I mean, they're all pop songs, you know. Really interestingly, what was the song we were talking about earlier?
Or These Walls.
Yes, These Walls has almost like a bit of a cinematic flavor to it.
If these walls could talk enough, give up.
And I think she's not afraid, and it kind of fits with the theme of Radical Optimism, where she's not afraid to be like a little bit cheesy.
Yep.
And I think like some of these songs, if she released them as a single, people would be like a little bit of an eye roll reaction. You know, Houdini's a little bit like a ooh, you know, you might not be able to get me unless you step up. Meanwhile, like, you know, Happy For You is like, I'm so happy for my ex because I'm past it, you know? And it's like that on its face can be really like a little bit too saccharine, right? So I think she was smart to put out the ones that she did.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. When I heard Falling Forever, I did immediately think like ABBA. It sounds like it could have been released on any one of their greatest hits albums. It is an excellent portrayal of her vocal ability. It also sounds a lot to me like her self-titled, her first album. She has quite a few tracks on there that sounded like Falling Forever. There are like these soaring melodies with like big choruses where it's like she's like belting on the chorus, and you really get a sense of like her rich tone and like she's got like a really thick vocal sound. And I think that adds a lot of like depth to her music, because I think right now there's like a trend for like, to borrow the word you used earlier, there's like the very saccharine, like airy, breathy kind of sound that's like popular right now, and I think like made popular by artists like Billie Eilish. So you're hearing a lot of like pop music that sounds like that. So it's nice to hear Dua just like kind of lean into her, I don't have that kind of a voice and I can do the belting and the big choruses, so letting her like just lean into that on this album I think has been a good choice.
Yeah, maybe that's why I found it so not surprising, but I was so impressed with it, is because I wasn't as familiar with that first album. You know, the singles were a little bit more, she was a little more reserved with her vocals, I think, like New Rules, Be the One, a little bit more reserved. So I'm not as familiar with the kind of B-sides on there.
The other thing that I really liked about Falling Forever was I feel like from the first track of her album, she's like setting the tone that this is going to be like a very summery, easy breezy, carefree vibes kind of an album. And I think that the intro for that song really kind of portrays that you can like hear her having like the studio chatter with like her band and the other singers, and it kind of just like leans into that sort of like we're just having fun here kind of vibe. And sometimes I think that those inclusions of can be like a little bit cloying, but I think like with the rest of the album and just like kind of how she's been promoting the album and talking about it, I think that it really fits the tone. She basically has gone on, you know, the talk show circuit the last few weeks being like, I don't care about putting out chart-topping albums. I've done that. I've gotten those allocates. I have 3 Grammys and I'm happy with that. And she's like, I just wanted to like work on an album with people I really liked and put out what I think is a really good piece of art, not something that I think is going to like top the charts. So I love that she included that. And I also really like the acoustic kind of opening of that song too.
in preparation for this episode, I read a couple of critical reviews of the album. And I was expecting it to be pretty widely hailed. I was like, this is such a banger album. I think everybody's going to love it. But some of the reviews were a little bit middling.
Really?
So the one that I read at least mentioned a couple of things. But the one that comes to mind first is that they said, apparently she said in an interview that it had a lot of influence from the UK electronic scene.
Yeah, she was talking about Britpop on Fallon, I think.
Right, which I think is a weird thing for her to say, because like I said, I think it's mostly a disco record. I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually a really great disco album, but I don't think it has a lot of like UK garage. Like maybe the only Britpop one is Happy For You, which has a little bit of that energy to it. But it's pretty, and I mean this not in a derogatory way, but it's a little bit one note musically, right? The other thing that I saw in that review is that they were like, Dua is trying to be a pop star, and she's just not pop starring hard enough. Like, she doesn't have as much of a character. They were like, the lyrics are so non-specific, which feels to me like so obviously like a reference to Taylor Swift. I'm like, not everybody has to name drop people in their lives to make a good album. Like, and personally, I would prefer that Dua does something that is coherent, right? Like, that's what I really love about this album, is that you could put this on at the beach and spend an hour just vibing with your friends to it, and it would be an incredible time. Like, it's so coherent, it's so positive, it's optimistic, and not in an unhinged manic way. It's optimistic in like a healthy way, I think. Yeah. And it's such a good vibe.
That's interesting. I don't know that I agree that it's completely cohesive. Like, again, I think that the singles to me sound very much like they could have been on any one of her albums and done well. But I think that the rest of the songs really do. I mean, I do think that there's like technical musical elements that are apparent and are through lines for the entire album, the entire track list. But I do really think that the non-single songs on here, those are the most cohesive and coherent to me.
Yeah. I guess so. Maybe I think I'm really being pulled along a lot by the through line of Radical Optimism, which is obviously, it's the name of the album. It's the theme that underlies the album. And I think, to be clear, it's not like Radical Optimism about like the state of the world, right? I think we can all agree the world is fucked. I think really what the album, it's a really relationship heavy album. Yeah. I think every single song is about relationships, and it's about being optimistic in relationships.
Yeah, I think it's definitely like it's an album about love and about not giving up on seeking it, even though you may have had like different trials and tribulations like everybody has.
Yeah, and it's so nice because, like I said, I think you listen to a lot of other artists who just aren't able to. I think it's kind of like a perception that the only type of interesting song you can write about a relationship is like a dysfunctional relationship, and instead you have this entire album full of songs where Dua is either asking her potential partners to raise their standards, or she is growing past her own like toxic behaviors in relationships, right? Which is so refreshing.
Yeah, I thought that I really, what I liked about These Walls in particular, to go back to that song quickly, which is, I think, my favorite on the album, is that she really is kind of, I mean, this song is definitely about, like, reckoning with a relationship that has run its course, and figuring out, like, what to do next about that, and, like, and just kind of, like, it feels like we're, like, sitting in the room talking with our friend, and she's, like, telling us, like, I think I need to be done with this, and we're like, yeah, pretty much, like, we've seen that already. So I really like that. That felt like a very intimate song to me, and I think that's probably the most personal that she got on this album, aside from the closing track, which I think is, like, a perfect song, which you already talked about a little bit, Happy For You. I thought it was like a great way to end the album, because Happy For You and End of an Era are really great bookends for this entire work of art. They feel like you're telling like a complete story. You've kind of like seen her go through like maybe multiple relationships in the songs that she sang on this album. And she still is like, well, I know something better is coming next, and I don't feel bitterness towards the person that I used to be with anymore. Like it feels, like you said, very mature, and it is like a great feeling when you've been in a relationship with somebody and you've split up, and maybe that person wanted it more than you, or vice versa, and you can like get to a point finally where you're like, yeah, like I'm not mad at them, and we didn't belong together, and it's great to see that they're like living a great life now and happy. Like I think that is a really nice thing that you don't hear a ton in pop music. I think a lot of times if it's like a song that's called Happy For You, the subtext of the song is that they're not actually that happy for them.
Yeah, it's tongue in cheek. I mean, literally, the Billie Eilish song, right? Didn't she have a song called, God, why am I blanking on the song? Oh, Happier Than Ever is what I'm thinking of, which is essentially, it's tongue in cheek,
Yeah. Yeah, there's always like a wistfulness to songs where they're talking about how happy they are for this person. And like this song doesn't have any of that. It really is like, I'm so thrilled that you're doing well, and I'm onto other things, and you are too, and that's great.
Right. It's truly like cathartic, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it really fits musically too, because it's the only song that doesn't have I guess These Walls is a little bit of a ballad as well, but still has like, it's pretty quick BPM, but Happy For You is fully like transcendent in that it's a little bit different from all the other songs musically too. So I'm glad that you also found that one as a fave.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and I wanted to say too, I noted earlier you were talking about French Exit as like one of the songs that was like a little bit like cinematic and kind of cheesy. And I also wrote down like this song has like beautiful imagery. Like I can really just like see a full film happening. This to me feels like a song that would have been very popular in 2007. Like it reminds me of like not in a, and I don't say that pejoratively, like it sounds like it would have been like it would have been like a pop single in that age. Like I'm thinking of Beyonce's album 4, or she has that song Best Thing I Never Had, and it has like a very similar feeling to that. And it also reminds me of a song that I'm blanking the name of right now from The Emancipation of Mimi by Mariah Carey. But it feels like very of that era.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm just excited to see what she does next, because if she moves even farther away from like the pop star sphere and gets more creative, I'm excited for it. Like, I think if anything, this album is a little bit held back by her. Like, let me see if I can express this correctly, but she has such a sense of taste and like being a curator that I almost feel like she was a little bit afraid to do anything that was too weird, Like, it's very like, everything is so tasteful and so considered, that it doesn't feel, not that I'm asking for like punk rock in a duo album, but like it doesn't feel very punk rock. So I'm like kind of excited if she does end up going a little bit weird on the next one, which I hope she does.
Yeah, I would be interested to see if she really does kind of lean into, well, this is one thing that I always wonder about doing press for these works, because generally the way that the industry works is these albums have been completed, shelves, and vetted, but or not shelved, but like vetted by their label and all the powers that be, and then put on a cycle, and they're like, okay, we're gonna like this is when you're gonna release the album. It's gonna be like 8 months from now, and we're gonna start doing press 3 months before that. And so I often wonder if when artists, because you did mention earlier, Dua had talked about being very influenced by Britpop and like Massive Attack, and there's another band that she mentioned, Primal Scream, that I wasn't really familiar with, but I guess is really big in the UK, and probably just before my time. But she said she was really influenced by those for this album, and I kind of agree. I'm really not hearing that at all on the album, but I also wonder if like that's something that she is currently very inspired by, and which we might see on the next album that she puts out.
Which, if she makes a Massive Attack inspired album, truly, I am so there.
That would be very cool.
But yeah, I mean, the review that I was reading that said that made it seem like those were just kind of like buzzwords to get people streaming the album, which I think is a little bit cynical.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that at all. I think I think that's doing Dua a disservice to like think that she's so vain that she would be just like throwing out like nonsense buzzwords to get people to like go see her out. I mean, she's like one of the biggest pop stars in the world. Like, people are gonna stream her music, period.
And I think it's impressive that she has this level of fame and she's not putting out provocative like music, right? Music that is just gonna like hit the airwaves and be big and you know,
like
sell
guaranteed
numbers.
You know it's gonna do well, and even though it might be like kind of saying nothing.
Right. I mean, this album, I think, like I said, it's not deep, it's not crazy, but it's very I know we disagree on the cohesive part, but I guess what I mean is it's like it's there's a theme to it.
Yeah, there's
a concept.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a through line.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate that she did that. So
I do too.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let's just say this. I love that this album is just 11 songs. You know, I love me some Beyonce, and like Cowboy Carter was just like an enormous work and a huge undertaking, and I love it. I mean, we won't even get into Cowboy Carter now.
That's another episode.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't need every artist to be putting out, you know, 20 plus or 30 plus tracks. Like I just don't need that. I don't have the time for it. It's like Martin Scorsese does a music album. Like, we don't need to do all that.
Listen, I love Marty, but yeah, I don't know about She Who Must Not Be Named.
She must not be named.
Who, famously just put out a 31 track album that is over 2 hours long.
We're not doing all that. I truly don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah, this could be a whole other episode, but yeah, I totally agree. I think the perfect length for an album is like 45 minutes. If it's a half-hour album and it's a fucking banger, I don't care that it's half an hour. I'm like, thank you for this this pill of serotonin. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. Speaking of Scorsese, I never finished watching Killers of the Flower Moon. It was just too long. Like, we don't need our media to be this long.
I never started watching it because I'm like, I know this is apparently like 6 hours long. I actually don't know how long it is, but based on the way people talk about it,
I think it's 3 hours. Let me look it up real quick. I want to see. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes runtime.
Do you care about spoilers?
No, I don't.
Okay, because the other thing that I heard about it, which really turned me off, was that Marty himself has a cameo in the film at some point, which I'm just like,
this is not a Marvel movie, bitch.
I'm like, come on, what are we doing?
No.
Like, I know that you're famous, you're Marty, but like, do you really need to be in this movie? And I love, The Departed is one of my favorite movies, but I don't know if I can sit. That's got to be like my plan for the day. That's what I'm doing.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. I love that this was like a nice short album. It again goes to like Dua's like level of taste, and she's like very intentional and discerning about what she puts out into the world. So I think she was just like, all killer, no filler.
So I think that caps it off. I think we can both agree that Taylor Swift sucks and Swifties don't come after us.
I am not going to say that. That's not.
That was a joke for the Swifties. This is a joke.
I think Taylor Swift is a great artist. Period.
Yeah, I'm actually a fan.
I just was not necessarily interested in listening to the Tortured Poets Department. That's all.
Yeah, this is just my disappointment because I really am a fan. It's just my disappointment coming through.
But you know what I am? You know what I am a fan of and what I am interested in? Dua Lipa. Did you see her on SNL this past weekend?
I saw a couple of the skits that you shared with me.
Firstly, they're sketches, but yes, they are excellent. She did a great job as dual duty as the host and musical guest. That's not an easy gig.
She's an actress. I mean, she was in Argyle recently, so she has the experience.
Did you see Argyle?
No, but I heard it was bad, but we don't have to talk about that.
Well, just real quick, I'm just curious. I watched it the other day because it was on Apple TV Plus, and it had, I have to tell you, when I saw the trailer, I was like, ooh, this looks fun. And then I saw all the reviews and saw that it did really poorly and like bombed at the box office. But I kept seeing the trailer on Apple TV Plus because they were really pushing that shit. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Silly, knowingly campy spy movie, which I appreciated. So give it a watch. I'm curious what your thoughts are.
All right. Maybe I will. Maybe that'll be my what's good for next week.
Oh, that reminds me. Justin, I got to ask you a question. Justin, what's good? And we're back.
I'm so happy to be back, Geoff. Can't wait to tell you what's good. Okay, so I actually had a tough time this being our, first episode. I've been into a lot of stuff recently, but what I really wanted to talk about was this song. It's called "Knock Yourself Out." XD, as in the face.
Love that. That's very like MySpace era. The youth won't know what we're talking about.
This isn't for the youth. It's by an artist named Porter Robinson.
Okay.
So he has had such an interesting career. He started off as kind of like an EDM DJ, collaborated with Skrillex, has a couple of bangers in the EDM scene. But in 2020, he put out an album called Nurture, which was a very like electro pop album and had a little bit of experimental ambient stuff on it. I didn't really like it that much in the time, but I revisited it recently and it's actually great. So recommend that as well. But this new single, it's the second single off his third album, which hasn't come out yet. And it appears that this album is kind of his like pop bangers album. Okay. And he was just like, fuck it, I'm making pop music for the masses and I'm gonna fucking kill it. And I listened to the beginning of this album and it's kind of like if Owl City made a banger.
Oh,
I was like,
interesting.
It has that like Postal Service like beep boop element to it.
Yep.
At the end, which I'll see if I can edit a clip in to this section, but
yeah.
I wear a big smile, got a drink in my hand, and got a face tattoo. I'm not making the night, gotta hold on, take it back again, and I got a brand new feeling in the back of my head. I wear a big smile, got a drink in my hand.
At the end, there's like a bridge/final chorus that I would describe as having Cruel Summer energy. Like, it's just such a banger.
Love that.
It's so good. And the lyrics are kind of about weird parasocial relationships. It's like about how his fans didn't like his second album. And the name of the song is Knock Yourself Out. The chorus says something like, why are you spending so much time being a hater when you could just not listen to me? Like,
right.
But knock yourself out with this song because it's like pure pop, just like dopamine straight into the veins. It's so good and so fun. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that recently. So that's what's good for me.
Very good.
What's good with you, Geoff?
Good. Well, Justin, there's a lot of things that are good with me. But right now, something that I want everybody in the world to be watching because it's an excellent show that I want to see come back for a third season is called Loot.
Pull up in the new whip, cost me 2 trips. I put that roof Chris all in the 2 lifts. Take vacations on jets, it's too slick. Don't bring the bags, I'll buy you some new fits. The money, the fame, and the life that's right. Everything I dreamed of and the price.
Ooh, you have been talking a lot about this.
I have been talking a lot about it. I need to be getting paid by Apple TV because I am like really just on a press junket right now, telling everyone who will listen about this show. But for those who don't know, this is an American comedy series. It was created by Matt Hubbard and Alan Yang, who also was a writer on Parks and Recreation, one of Justin and I's favorite shows. And the premise is, I should say it's starring Maya Rudolph, Jay Rodriguez, who was in, or Michaela J. Rodriguez, who was in Pose, and then one of my favorite comedians, Joel Kim Booster, as well as quite a few other character actors who you'll probably recognize.
Yeah, Joel Kim Booster from Twitter. I feel like I followed him on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, Joel Kim Booster, also a director. He did a really great movie 2 years ago on Hulu called Fire Island, which was great. Fun, like, summery, love, LGBTQ sort of movie. But anyway, the synopsis of Loot is that a 45-year-old woman named Molly Wells divorces her tech billionaire husband after 20 years of marriage. Definitely supposed to be like based on the Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Bezos story. And after she goes on a bender with her $87 billion fortune, she has like an existential midlife crisis and decides to re-engage with a foundation that she had started years ago in order to like reconnect with real people and the real world. The show is it's like a half-hour comedy format, multicam. The opening soundtrack is excellent by the Math Club. I love it. The soundtrack of the show is great. It features like, I would say, like 90s and early 2000s hip hop. it's just a great cast. There's such good chemistry there. The stories are endearing, and the writing is actually so funny. So you guys all need to check out Loot on Apple TV Plus. New episodes drop on Wednesdays.
Damn, you should be getting paid. That was impressive.
It's a great show. They deserve it. And there's a lot of great writers that are on that show, including, if you remember way, way back before Ellen was canceled, she had this guy in her show named Nick Lehman. He kept getting scared by his roommate, and the videos went viral on TikTok as well. And he's one of the writers on the show, and he's very funny. So you guys should all watch and support. Great.
Yeah, I feel like Apple TV Plus really, they have a lot of bangers. Like, they really have a lot of good shows.
They do.
So yeah, you should get on there if you're not already.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get sponsored by Apple.
Dream big, Geoff.
It could happen. Shoot for the stars.
All right, well, are we ready to close out? All right, I'll take us out. This has been Bants with Geoff and Justin. Bants is produced by Geoff Taylor and Justin Benavidez. Graphic design by Geoff Taylor. Editing by Justin Benavidez. The theme music for Bants is the track Time With You by Tala featuring Rule, that's spelled RVLE, and is provided by No Copyright Sounds. Email us at bantspod@gmail.com with any questions, recommendations, or just to say hi. Peace out, fam.